Hello fellow Plexers. I wanted to make a quick video, well let's say a short video, to cover a few things for the different Plex groups on Facebook to help other users out. I want to cover MKVtoolnix, which is a file unzipper for media. It will open up a MKV file or an MPEG file and you can manipulate the contents. You can say remove extra subtitle files or remove extra audio files or leave them there and reflag which one's the default. You can also trim video with it. Say you record your own over-the-air media and you have a TV show that maybe started 30 minutes early and ran 30 seconds early and ran 30 seconds late, so you were sure not to miss anything. Well, if you want to trim the little bit of extra beginning and extra ending off from that, MKVtoolnix will do that for you. You can also rip your own DVD of a TV show, and if you ended up with one huge file instead of multiple smaller files, you can find the chapter points with VLC Media Player, the point at which one episode changes to the other, and manually write those down and input them into MKVtoolnix to split the video up yourself. So it has many uses, and it will work on both MPEG and MKV files. So to start with, let's go to a working directory I have set up. I wanted to show you how a little short episode like this on the Linux desktop can be right-clicked and can be opened with MKVtoolnix. And when it opens up, you'll see that this contains 3 subtitle files. The Spanish at the bottom and then 2 English ones. Well, if you click on each one, you can see how they're flagged. The default track flag is to determine automatically based on your server settings, and there's a forced track flag that just says no. So this first one is just the regular subtitle file. The next English one is the one that contains extra information for people that are hard of hearing. It'll have extra information in the subtitle file that'll say things like bird chirping or music playing or whatever else it adds to the movie. It's the hearing impaired subtitle file. So if you wanted to remove the Spanish one, and say you wanted to remove the hearing impaired one, you simply unclick it. Maybe you found a video someplace that had Russian audio track and an English audio track, but whenever you started up on your Plex server, the Russian audio would be default. Well, you could actually remove that Russian audio or simply reset the default flags. They might have been set wrong. So in this case, I'm just going to remove 2 of the subtitle files. It only has 1 audio track. So all you do is click Multiplexer and start multiplexing. And you see it's a small file. It just happens very quickly. I can close this now, and you'll see in my folder I now have a new file that is about the same size, and it's relabeled as number 1. So if I open up the default one and pause it, we can go up and see all 3 subtitle tracks. If I open up the new file that I created, you'll see there's only the 1 remaining one because we just removed 2 of them. So that's pretty cool. And what you can also do is you can trim video. So I have something I recorded off from Channels Plus DVR, a great performance. It's a 6.7 gigabyte file, and I want to trim a little bit off from the beginning and a little bit off from the end. I've already determined what points I want to use. So let me just go here first, and here's the trim points. 32 seconds into it is where I want to start the new video, and then I want the new video to end at the 1 hour 27 minute and 10 second mark. So I'm just going to highlight that so I have it ready. and we'll go to MKVtoolnix, and the video is already loaded. If it wasn't loaded, you can just right click here, add files, find your video, click open, and then at this point you just change to the output window. By default it'll say do not split. I've already ran this on the video to test it out, but we're going to choose after specific timestamps, and my cut points are already in here, but I'll just paste them in again. So if this was one master file that maybe had 10 TV episodes on it, you could identify all those breaks between episodes, add the time for it, put a comma, add the next one, add a comma, and repeat and rinse. So all we'll do now is you can stay here or switch back to the input window, click multiplexer, and click start multiplexing. Now because it's such a large file, over 6 gigabytes, it's going to take a little bit longer than the small file did. And you'll note that it only had the video and the audio file in here to start with. There were no subtitle files. If a video that I recorded with my channels DVR or Channels Plus DVR system did have subtitles, they'd show up. This one didn't. So if we go back to the file browser, you'll see that we've already created one file. That's the short piece that's been trimmed out. And while it's running, it's going to create the larger piece, and then when it finishes up, it'll create the small end part that was also trimmed off. So we're at 79%. It'll be done in a second. Okay, it's all done. So now when we go back to the file browser, you'll see we have 4 videos now, the original one and the 3 new ones that were created. So I can literally get rid of the part that was trimmed off from the beginning and the part that was trimmed off from the end. They're no longer needed. And if I start this video, you'll see it starts right where I wanted it to, and at the very ending,
your PBS station from viewers like
will
you.
be also where I chose to end it. So I don't want any copyright strikes, so I'm not going to show too much of any video. So the next part is this video can be put in 2 different libraries. It can go in the TV show library, or it can go in my movie library. You just have to find it in the database of each. So as a great performance video, it would be right here. It has to go in a folder called Great Performances. Now remember, the year is only needed if the TV database tells you it's needed. It needs to go in a subfolder titled Season 40. And then, let's back up a little bit. It needs to go in a file labeled Great Performances space dash space S40E24 space dot space space dash space Twilight, remove the colon, space Los Angeles. So if I go back to my word processing file, I have it already set up for that. So this would be the name from the movie database. It's listed there as a performance, and this would be the name from the TV database. So all I'm going to do is copy what I've already have, and after the proper name, you can do another space dash space and put any descriptor in you want. I put the resolution in, and then sometimes if I want to remember that I got this from my own recording, I might put channels DVR down. That way, if I come across a smaller version that might be trimmed better, I know I can easily replace it. So I'm just going to copy that, go back to my folder, and right click and rename. And now it's as easy as this time I'm just going to copy it because I want to rename it again to move to the movie folder. I'll drop it into the correct season folder. Now 6.1 gigs is going to take a little bit to transfer on my Synology NAS, so we can move on to something else. We can talk about special characters for a second. If you use a program like FileBot, it'll automatically remove any special characters. That would be like a question mark or a colon, that sort of thing. Because the computer file systems or a NAS file system won't allow those special characters. But the database still expects it to be there. So when we rename it for the movie library I'm going to put it in, the database expects that colon. Most times it'll match the media up perfectly. Sometimes it won't. So all you have to do is go into the fix match and add the colon back when you search for it, fixing the match, and it should find it. Some people go to IMDb and they grab the number that IMDb gives and they search for that instead. It's just a lot quicker to have the full exact name that you find it in the database, and usually Plex just finds it. I found doing this type of media where they're more obscure that maybe 50% of the time Plex finds it and 50% it doesn't. If it was a mainstream movie that might have had a colon in it, Plex usually just finds it. And I don't know why, I don't know what the rhyme or reason is to it. So let's see how close we are. 30 seconds left. So while I'm waiting, I will get what I need to rename it for the other library. So this is the proper name, just with that colon taken out. Again, after the proper name, I'm using the descriptor for the resolution and the fact that it came from channels DVR. You could easily put director's cut in the brackets here if you wanted. Plex will ignore anything past this point. So the file's renamed, or the file's transferred. Now we'll rename it for the movie library. And we'll copy it into the movie library. Actually, we'll cut it this time. So I have a separate library for things like Broadway shows, ballets, operas, and comedy shows. Alright, so while that's copying in, let's talk about subtitles if you don't have them, or foreign language subtitles. The first thing you want to do to get yourself set up for that is go to your Plex server and go to settings and then go down to the language section. Click automatically select audio and subtitle tracks. Choose your preferred language. Most of you that watch this will be choosing English. Subtitle mode should be shown with foreign audio, and then prefer subtitles in English. Hit save changes. That's the only thing you have to do to your server. Now if you don't have a subtitle, if you acquired the media and it didn't come with subtitles, you can go and get them. So let's go back a step. I close the folder I wanted. So here's a bit of acquired media. The file, when it came in, had a subtitle folder. I removed the two subtitles and I renamed them. They were just English 01 and English 02. You'll see that one of them is much smaller than the other. Well, this smaller one is the foreign audio one, and you'll see there's only one line of foreign language spoken, and that's at the 1 hour, 2 minute, 22 second, and 458 nanosecond mark. The other subtitle file has subtitles for the whole movie. And it looks like these are the hearing impaired ones, because you see in the parentheses things like man 1, man 2. Sometimes you'll see 3 English subtitles because it's the regular one, the hearing impaired, plus the foreign language one. So all you have to do is name them correctly. So this movie is named properly with a little 1080p descriptor, and then the regular subtitle file just has a .eng.srt. Everything's the same except for the end of it. And then for the forced audio one, you name it .eng.force.srt. So let's copy these files into the server. I'm going to put them in my crime directory. And actually, they're already there, but we'll just recopy them anyway. Well, actually, not easy being a non-YouTube star. Alright, so I'm going to overwrite all of them, and while that's copying, let's go back to the server. So let's see, this Twilight discovered itself properly. If it didn't match up, I would simply go to More, Fixed Match, Search Options, choose the movie database as the agent, and put the colon back into it. And that's only if it doesn't match. And like I said, 50% of the time with a more obscure media, it won't match. I had the same issue with Star Trek's Lower Decks when I put the first episode on. Plex didn't find it. So I went here and just added the colon because it's Star Trek colon space Lower Decks. As soon as I did that, it came up with a match. Alright, so let's go back a little bit and we'll drop down, and here's that movie we used the subtitle example with. If I click into it, you'll see, because of the settings I showed you on the server, that the forced subtitle file is automatically loaded. And if I wanted to, I could change to the other one. They're on the server. If I didn't have them, you can still search for them, but generally you're not going to find a forced audio subtitle for the foreign language this way. You'll want to go to Subscene, and here's the movie already pulled up, and you'll see all these different subtitles in all the different languages. Well, Subscene makes it easy. Change your filter, select your language, drop all the way down to the bottom, and click the foreign language audio, save changes, and now you have 2 choices to download from. Now this top one kind of lines up with exactly where I acquired this movie from, so I know it's a good match. But all you have to do is start it up in VLC and check a few lines. With a foreign audio subtitle, it tells you exactly where the foreign parts are, so you can skip ahead and see if it matches up, see if everything's in sync on VLC. If it's in sync on VLC, it'll be in sync on your server. If not, it's probably not your server. It might be a player issue, a client issue. So basically that's it. Let's go to one more thing before we finish up. So I added that one file as a great performance episode, which it was, and you'll see Plex doesn't have too much information about it simply because there's no information in the database besides the name of the episode. That's just the hit or miss of it. No one's taken the time to add it. And you'll look at this episode, and there's a lot of information that Plex can pull from it. I'm not so anal where I'd want to add information that just is what it is, but this can also go in another library. And if you're a collector of the arts, you can take a performance, like great performances that you recorded yourself, and put it in a separate library, put it in your main movie library. You can do anything you want with it. So if I go to recommended, I can now adjust this, tag it, and I'm going to consider it a Broadway show. So I click the collection, and I'm going to go to Broadway shows, save changes, and now when I go into collections, it's included in this collection in this library. Thanks for watching. I hope this is helpful. And MKVtoolnix is your best friend. Maybe another video I'll do an in-depth demo on FileBot. I don't use it too much for movies. It just seems too quick and easy to rename a movie yourself. But to do 10 seasons of a TV show, this is the cat's rear end. So that might be a future video. Again, thanks for watching.